What's good, man? What's happening? What's happening? Happy Wednesday, y'all. How's everybody doing? Yes, sirski. We almost at the end of the week, y'all. We almost there, baby. Yeah. Oh, man. I hope y'all having a beautiful week so far, man. How's everybody doing out there? All right. Come on in, man. Come on in. Get settled. We got some shit to talk about today, baby. We got some shit to talk about today. I've been on my rant. I've been on my ranting shit lately, man. So we're gonna do a little bit. We're gonna do some more today, baby. Yes, sir. Lock in. Let's go, man. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let us settle in real quick. Yes, sir. Alright, man. Hey, y'all. Welcome in to another episode of the Jayson Estrera Show, where we talk about basketball, sports, and any other topic that comes our way as accurate as possible. Now, I don't really got much of a story of anything at all today. I didn't do much yesterday. I'm gonna keep it all the way a buck. So we gonna get right to the shits today. There's a game today that got postponed. I think it was it was like the Pelicans or whatever. Who was it? It was like Dallas was stuck in New Orleans because there was a snowstorm. Something's going on. But you know, regardless of the fact, right? We do have some games to talk about, and before we get to the actual games themselves, we have to touch on this Jimmy Butler topic. Once again, I mean, this thing has literally, for probably the last month straight, has been the topic of conversation. Right? Jimmy Butler requesting for a trade. What team is he going to go to? It's been the actual talk of the town for the last month. And one of the teams that came early into the rumors was the Phoenix Suns. And today, the Phoenix Suns have made a trade. Or yesterday, I should say, right? And the trade goes as follows. The Phoenix Suns are trading their 2031 unprotected first round pick to the Utah Jazz for 3 first round picks, sources tell ESPN. The Suns are acquiring the least favorable firsts in 2025 of Cleveland or Minnesota, 27 of Cleveland or Minnesota or Utah, and 2029 of Cleveland, Minnesota, or Utah. So they're essentially trying to grab a bunch of draft picks, and then the Utah Jazz said, we'll take the guaranteed high pick in 2031, which in and of itself is just sounds funny. And so they got rid of all of those first round picks in 2025, 2027, and 2029. 335 red cars, 56 police cars, and 13 yellow cars. My boy did his homework. Hey, what's good, man? What's good, Elijah? How are you? Shit got rowdy on Monday? You good? You came out without a scratch? I love it. I respect, dog. Respect, man. Respect. My boy did his fucking homework. You're a good student, aren't you? My mom is like, why are you like this? Hey, listen, I have heard that plenty of times in my life. My girl says it to me now. My girl says it to me now. Like, why are you? I'm pretty sure she said it to me yesterday, dog. Oh man, it was great. I love that, man. I love that. I love to hear that. I love that you're good. Everybody's good. On a roll, you know me. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We need a smart motherfucker around. We be around too many dummies, bro. We need a smart motherfucker around. But speaking of dummies, I think this trade is dumb. See how I wrapped it back in there, right? Speaking of a bunch of idiots, like the funniest shit to me when it comes to this situation right here, is the Phoenix Suns did this. And it still comes down to whether or not Bradley Beal is going to exercise his no trade clause or not. Like, like they really just got rid of like they did all this to potentially at the final hour not even be able to get the actual trade through, which I think is hilarious. Like, their whole thing is in Bradley Beal's hand. Yeah, Phoenix was cooked when they picked up Beal. Losing Josh hurt too. Absolutely. Absolutely. And now they're dealing with the consequences of it. And to me, they're making now a rash decision, right? Because I don't think this Bradley Beal situation is unsalvageable, right? Because he's still a very good player. And I saw Jeff Teague talking about, well, what's the potential that Bradley Beal could be in a sixth-man role? Because there's been rumors of Bradley Beal being traded to the Milwaukee Bucks as well, too. And even in that situation, right? Let's say Bradley Beal goes to the Milwaukee Bucks. It took Damian Lillard a year to get kind of comfortable in Milwaukee. A whole year. And that's because Giannis is such a dominant player. He's such a dominant player. To try to figure your way around that when you've been the 20, 28, 30 point per game scorer on the previous team, that takes some getting used to. It sounds really simple in theory, but when you start taking into account the dollar amount that these guys are getting paid, meaning that has something to do with where you stand in relation to everyone else in the league, right? Regardless of whether you think that's accurate or not, that's how it works. If you don't get paid a role player's salary, chances are you're not going to feel like a role player, and sacrificing is going to be a little bit harder and it's going to take a little bit more. And now you make that situation worse by potentially saying, hey, what if you come off the bench? And the unfortunate thing for Bradley Beal is it's not the worst idea, right? He could be a consistent 18 point per game scorer off the bench, where they tell you, all right, at the end of quarters, you get to come in and you get to shoot fucking everything. You come in, and if you don't shoot in a possession, I'm gonna make you run. Like that almost needs to be the conversation. But a lot of times when you get former stars or just starters, they don't they don't hear you past the you got to come off the bench. All that other shit sounds cool, but they're not hearing it. And then, people will be like, "Oh, it's not about who starts, it's about who finishes. You'll be closing out game." Yeah, but they don't hear that shit. They're checked out of that conversation. And it takes a lot of time to get someone to embrace that type of role. So that, I think, is the odd thing for Bradley Beal, right? If he's already dealing with that in Phoenix, telling him that you're going to trade him and he might have to deal with that in another team starting from zero when he's already put, they've already put work in on Phoenix to try to, he's already doing the work of trying to get comfortable with that situation. And now he has to restart over with a whole new set of teams, with a whole new set of teammates, new city, new area, new everything. If I'm Bradley Beal, that would be enough for me to say, you know what, I'll just deal with this bullshit over here. If I got to go deal with the bullshit over there, I'll just deal with it over here. And the same thing goes for potentially moving him to Miami. Although, me personally, I would probably start him on Miami. And y'all already know how I feel about the Miami Heat situation. I think the Miami Heat and the Phoenix Suns are the only two teams that can make this trade and make it work. There's a lot of people debating or what's the best landing spot for Jimmy Butler. You're very limited. You are very, very, very limited because, one, his personality, right? That is first and foremost for any team looking to acquire Jimmy Butler. If I'm the general manager and our locker room is not the strongest, and you've seen Jimmy Butler on the Timberwolves, on the 76ers, now the Miami Heat, it would give me reason to say, hey, wait a second. Maybe I have to call some of those people that were working then or people that he was playing with to see what this dynamic could look like on my team and if we could afford to take on this, this personality. Do we have the people in leadership roles that can control this situation? Right? And then, once you get past that, you have to deal with the fact that Jimmy Butler is now 35 years old. And the reality is this is probably going to be his last contract. A 3-year contract until he's 38. So now you're looking at getting Jimmy Butler from 35, 36, 37, to 37 or 38, right? He's not a three-point shooter. He's not a super efficient isolation scorer. His defense is still good, but again, he's had so many injuries over the years. I think sort of like Paul George, it's not quite what it was years ago. And so now you deal with all of those things laid out. I don't think there's a lot of landing spots that you could put him in. So that makes this really difficult. The reason I think he works with the Phoenix Suns is he could come in and be like a point forward, like a facilitating defensive guy. Let the two scorers do their thing. He could almost be like the Scottie Pippen for Durant and for Booker. Right? That's what I'm envisioning with Jimmy Butler on this team. but how will they handle his personality? I personally feel the value of the superstar is falling. Do you feel the same? They do throw that label around a lot. I think that's a great question, Elijah. I think that it has been oversaturated. And there are some people that what were we talking about the other day, right? Your favorite versus the best. Those are two separate things. Those two things are not the same. Right? A superstar and a great player, or one of the best players in the league, right? Those two things are not the same. Look at the MVP voting last year, right? It was Jokic, Shea, and Luka. None of those three are superstars. Because, excuse me again. Because a superstar player is a player that is one of the best players in the game, right? But two, they have star power. It's beyond playing the game of basketball. Is this person marketable? Is this person popular? Is this person likable or not likable? And realistically, there have been very, very, very few superstars. Like currently in the NBA, I think there's three. LeBron, Steph, and Kevin Durant. And then granted, I think Kevin Durant's superstarness, his shine has kind of dimmed a little bit over the last couple years. I think the moving around, the public perception, the way people feel about him, unfortunately has dimmed his star a little bit. But even going back before these three, through the 2000s, there were also, I'm trying to think really hard right now, but there were also three superstars in the NBA through the 2000s. That was Shaq, Kobe, and just by off pure popularity and just a trendsetter was Allen Iverson. It's very far and few. There are a ton of extremely good players. But superstar, you have to combine both of those things. What do you mean was KD the original Mr. Aura in Oklahoma? What do you mean by that? Like, did he have the aura in Oklahoma City? I think, like, I'm trying to remember back, right? When we first saw Kevin Durant in the NBA. All right, I'll put it to you like this, right? From the moment Kevin Durant entered the NBA to the moment of, you know, when he came down against the Cleveland Cavaliers on the left wing, when he dribbled up, has he pulled it? right? I think from the moment he entered in the NBA to that moment of hitting that three against LeBron James, yeah, I don't think so. I feel like he got his aura after. My God said, I just like using the word to be honest. um, but KD from his rookie year to that shot against the Cleveland Cavaliers, the 3-point shot, all that time in between, even after he got the MVP, I was sort of waiting for him to take over the league and be the best player. And, you know, with by shocking all of us, the person that came out of nowhere in the middle of all of that was Steph Curry. Right? There was a point in time where I thought Steph Curry was, you could argue that he was more impactful than LeBron James. He wasn't better than LeBron James. He was, I mean, like, what are we talking about? Like, he's not better than LeBron James. But the way that they played and their style was so crazy that I thought his impact matched that of LeBron James. And it wasn't until Kevin Durant hit that shot against LeBron where I finally said, I was like, oh shit, he's about to do the thing. Like he's about to take off on the rocket and fuck all of this up. Right? Then he comes back the following year and hits another shot essentially from the same spot. He's holding the finals trophy with the championship trophy. And I'm sitting there watching and I'm thinking, oh, this guy's about to be the best basketball player in the world. And then everything happened after it. And granted, an injury was a huge part in all of that, the Draymond Green thing. But I say that to say, on the Oklahoma City Thunder, I felt like he wasn't the one that had aura. And I think a lot of us want this for Kevin Durant. At least I did. Right? I wanted him to be aggressive. I wanted him, you know, when he was talking about, when he was in that one interview, he said, you know who I am? I'm fucking Kevin Durant. Like, he says that. And I know he feels like it. And I said this just a couple weeks ago. I almost feel like he needs to play like that every game for 48 minutes. To where he's like, I'm the best shit on planet Earth. And none of y'all can fuck with me. Here's 40s. Here's 50s. Here's 60s. Like, he was that good. But he, to me, just never reached that point of, I don't give a fuck. Like, that's just to me. So, I don't know if he's the one that, I don't think he was Mr. Aura in Oklahoma. I think Russ had that all over. But let's move right on. We'll move it right along because I did want to talk about. This because I think that this is a. Or do I want to talk about the? No, let's talk about this first, really quickly.
I love what you and Jalen Green have right now. From this perspective, what I saw last night, I saw competition from when the ball went up. What is it about you guys going 1-2 that has made this so much? Like, I feel like you even play at a higher level. What do you guys have right now, just from a competition standpoint?
I think it's just exactly that. We want to compete against each other. They've always put us up against each other since high school as far as who is better. And I think we both kind of enjoy to be able to head up against each other and see who's the best. There's nothing
No
more than that.
handshakes before the game, nothing like that.
I don't think we need any of that. We both kind of know what it is. And
He's smart
enjoy
because that was the
competing.
corporate answer. But
You know.
Burns' version is I'm the man and you was behind me for a reason, and I'm gonna show you every time we play why they pick me before they pick you. Period.
So, and Elijah, I gotta give you your credit because you didn't say it word for word, but I think you asked about Cade Cunningham for a reason when the season started, right? And I remember answering you, and I was like, I don't think there's anything wrong with Cade Cunningham as a basketball player. He's actually very good at basketball. In terms of his actual game and the skill, there's nothing wrong with it. It just hasn't translated to winning, and I don't necessarily know if that's a him thing or what. But clearly, they've made a shift this year, the Detroit Pistons have, and it has everything to do with Cade. Cade finally getting his licks in, and he got that shit on. He really do. He really, really do. And like I said, I got to give you your props for being ahead of that and, putting me on, and now I have to pay attention to what he does because here's the thing, right? Winning is a learned behavior. There is a way to win games, right? There are things that you could do possession to possession that whether you make or miss, whether you get the steal or not, or the block or not, or this or that, you are making consistent winning plays. And I think that he and the Detroit Pistons they're going through growing pains, and they are learning how to win basketball games in the NBA because it's not easy. They're playing against the best basketball players in the world. And he has been lights out this year. Like, he really has been lights out. Yeah, his play is drastically different. Yeah. Well, and that team is too, let's be honest, right? But this mentality, because this goes back, Elijah hit the like button. Yo, Bruce, you different for that. You different for that, bro. Like you said, you learn. I don't expect you to win automatically or carry for seasons or series, but this is a different team, and he is the head. Cade is mid. Well, he in a mid-ass team. Like, that team is just not very good, and they don't get no shine. But here's the thing, though. I love the way he speaks about Jalen Green. And I know this goes way back. Cade has always been first. Jalen Green has always been second. So, they're as far as we know from the outside looking in, there is no real actual beef in the middle of this, right? This is strictly competition where one guy has been getting favored at every turn over someone else. And that's beautiful, right? That's how it's supposed to be. I couldn't help but think about what Anthony Edwards said about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander just a couple weeks ago. How he's the MVP of the league, should have won it last year. Like I said before, he should be competing with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for MVP. Why are you applauding him for a trophy that you should be fighting for? Like, I kind of felt the way about what he said with regards to Kyrie Irving, and it's been circulating again because they're gonna play later tonight about, oh, he's my favorite point guard. He's the best point guard ever. He knows that. Even in that statement, you raise an eyebrow to it, but at the same time, Kyrie is older. He's been watching Kyrie, longer. Him and Kevin Durant, like, I can get past those two, right? Because those two players are solidified and they've done what they've done. They're still really good players in this league, but you can't say that by someone that's essentially your peer in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And I'm all for giving flowers. You could do that on your own time, whatever the fuck you want to do. But to announce it on TV for everybody to hear and see, I felt the way about it because to me, this persona of this super competitive person that's going to go at your head of Anthony Edwards it's slowly fading. He's not dunking on people like he was in the past couple seasons. It's not the same. And I just got to applaud Cade Cunningham and his approach to this situation. And not for nothing, Jalen Green has been playing well this year too. And he has a lot to go. I think his body needs a lot of work still, but he's also been a good player. So this is a rivalry that hopefully we'll be able to see for years and years to come, and that'll be really fun. Not going to take Jalen Green serious when his baby mama's son and him are the same age. I mean, you're not wrong, Bruce. And not for nothing either, right? He's getting saved right now because that team's defense is incredible. Like, the Houston Rockets have an incredible defense. And I don't want this to go unnoticed either when it comes to the Houston Rockets. Jalen Green can lean on Sengun, but almost more importantly, he could also lean on Fred VanVleet, which is not the case for Cade Cunningham and the Detroit Pistons, right? Their team situations are totally different. And also their markets are totally different. And, Jalen Green's style of play, the high flying, the dunks, people eat that shit up. So Jalen Green has those things going for him, and Cade Cunningham is just in the mud getting it in Detroit. So I do like that there is such a contrast between the two of them and their situations and even the way that they play. Yes, I say there are nuances, and this is a great example. Every young player is a GOAT. And, like I said, like for Anthony Edwards, he could very well, still go on his way and be one of the greatest basketball players and do what he does, right? Maybe this is just someone that's just young in the way that they're thinking. But when you hear him say certain things like I'm only 23, wait till I'm 26 and da-da-da-da. Well, wait, hold on. Why we gotta wait? I get that you're getting better year after year. That's fine. Like that you should think like that. But what's stopping you, Anthony Edwards, from contending for an MVP this year, from carrying your team that's been struggling this year? Nothing is. And so, when you see him falter in some of these things in terms of competition, I wonder if there's a deeper thing in just the way that he views and sees things in the game. He shows leaning on Timmy and Bees in different ways. Throws 2-shot Detroit to a lot of wins. I mean, that's facts. That is fact. That those two guys have also been very good. every young player isn't a GOAT. No, that's facts. Everyone thinks they are. Everyone thinks they are. Till they run into a real one. Everyone thinks they are, man. Everyone thinks so. Now, we've already been bringing up Kyrie Irving a little bit, and they're going to be playing later today. But I wanted to highlight the Dallas Mavericks, right? Because their injuries, and especially the Luka Doncic injury, I think, has allowed Klay Thompson to fly a little bit under the radar. And I'll be honest, I'm almost mad at myself, y'all. I feel like I got bullied over the summer because I kept talking about how, yes, I think this is a very good pickup that the Dallas Mavericks made. Klay Thompson can solve a lot of problems for them, right? He can solve a ton of problems for them. But I was also hesitant because the reality about Klay Thompson is this. He's not the Game 6 Klay, unconscious Klay Thompson that we have watched for most of his career. I think the injury has a lot to do with that, and because of the injury, it's taken a shot at his confidence. And we've talked about before, confidence is a massive multiplier in sports. And because of all of their injuries, I think it's kind of taken some of the pressure off of Klay, when the reality is this, right? There are 3 stars on the Dallas Mavericks. It was Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, and then Klay Thompson signed with them. I get that Luka's out, MVP candidate, one of the best players in the world. But with Kyrie Irving and Klay Thompson, they should be able to not just win games, but be extremely competitive. And the worry that I had was, I know Klay can stand there and shoot 1,000,000 threes at a high clip. Are they going to be running plays for him or not? And it makes a difference. And what we've seen is he's joined the Dallas Mavericks, but even with or without Luka, they still play kind of this Luka Doncic style of basketball. And he's not adjusting extremely well to it. Perfect. I wanted to talk about Klay. He seems so paralyzed with mental blocks. I hit the like, Bruce. I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all are fucking awesome. But I wanted to take a look at this play. Let's take a look at this real quick. This is the end of it was the end of the Hornets Mavs game. So let's take a look at this.
Irving has made a ton of huge shots in his career. 2016, anyone? Oh, he didn't want to.
Like, that's obviously on Kyrie Irving, right? This particular play. And I get that Najee Marshall was wide open, right? I totally get that Najee Marshall was wide open in that corner. But this is one of those situations. Remember you guys remember when Iman Shumpert was talking to Carmelo Anthony, and he would tell Melo, he's like, "Yo, I'm open." He's like, "Dog, I'm open." And Melo said, "No, I see you. I work on this shit." And the reason for that turnover is, I think there was a split second where Kyrie was like, all right, I'm going to take the shot, or I'm going to make the move to try to get to the cup or whatever. And then he last minute decided to pass it. Like, no, Kai, you got to shoot that shit. 10 out of 10 times. 26 and a half seconds left. 8 seconds on the shot clock. You're down to, we live and die by you taking and making a tough shot right there. I get that he made the right basketball play, or tried to make the right basketball play, but in my opinion, you snatch back, you just take that shot. And then we move on to this next part right here, which is also important. I think, was it I forget who missed. I think it was LaMelo that missed the free throw. So let's take a look at it.
Pass it to Marshall, and it's off the mark. Dallas has a timeout if they want. Thompson.
I saw someone online say he could have taken a sidestep shot, and he could have. He could have. But why? Like, but why? And honestly, his feet don't even look set here. His right foot isn't planted properly. That's why he hesitated on the shot. And then he set his feet and took it. And this has been very consistent with Klay. This happened against the Warriors. This happened opening night. Gafford was going fucking crazy. He really, really was going crazy. But Klay Thompson is not the same Klay Thompson. The unconsciousness that Klay Thompson had, right? That unconscious player that just didn't care, that was so valuable to the Golden State Warriors, right? He didn't have that. And I think now that he thinks about these shots, he questions whether they're good shots or not. I think it's really hurt him in his play. Because if y'all remember the Warriors, right? Anytime the Warriors were down like 6, 9, 12 points, the most dangerous guy on the floor was always Klay Thompson. Because Steph, as the star player, the best player on the floor, even when Kevin Durant got there, those guys are worrying about time in possession, about, well, we don't want to take a bunch of bad shots. Those guys worry about that shit. Klay would just black out and shoot. And it was so great because it relieved pressure off of those guys, number one. But two, the overconfidence made his shooting ability that much better. And if that's not the same guy, and we have the guy that hesitates, he's going to pump fake and do all it, we can't count on him the same. And that's truly unfortunate. Brug Gaffer was going crazy. Thanks, Elijah. Mavs are in trouble. Lively has a fractured foot. Oh, yeah, he is. That's a rough one to have. That's a rough one to have. Klay is washed. Look at Poole. People criticize him, but he was a product of their culture. They are home run hitters. They are brawlers in boxing where they just let you have it. And that's like, and to your point, Elijah, like that's a really good thing to have on your team. But Klay Thompson, before that 3-point shot, right? He took 4 shots before that 3. 4 shots, right? And I've said is you could go 5 for 25. You could whatever. We could break down some of these shots being good or bad, but at the end of the day, I can't get mad at you for missing. I can get mad at you for not being aggressive, for not taking the shots that you're supposed to take with confidence. Because now someone else has to pick up that slack, and chances are they're not as good as you. And so Klay Thompson has put people in just this weird spot because, I think some people expect him to be who he was, and he's just not that person anymore. And even deeper, right? He is not the defender that he used to be. Like, I think that's a theme. Everyone's also gotten older, and a lot of injuries have occurred. But Klay Thompson on defense, if he were a lot better on defense, I think this wouldn't look as bad because he'd be helping his team win games in ways other than just shooting. But the fact that he's not defending like he was, I think, is really hurting this team. So I don't know. I don't know what they're about to do. Like I don't know what they're about to do, bro. It's rough for them. It's rough for them for sure. It is rough for them for sure. Klay better than Muddy Heel. I love the names, bro. I love the names. Like, where do you come up with this, Bruce? Like, where do you come up with these names? These are awesome. But Mavs are in trouble. Mavs see that his defense is not good, and they are looking for perimeter defense. With Lively out for months, Mavs are big doo-doo. Yeah, I think they can kiss their championship hopes goodbye this season. Luka being out is also preventing them from meshing with the three players together. So there's just a lot of shit going on with Dallas that's gonna prevent them from trying to get on a roll to win a championship, and I don't think this year is gonna be it. This is not Luka's fault, but I think he should take some blame. The guy is on a scooty bike. Like, he on a little scooty bike. What you mean, Elijah? What you mean? I'll be honest, when it comes to the Mavericks too, right? Because I had referred to this a little bit during the playoffs last year, right? At what point are we going to point the finger at Jason Kidd? I get that Luka has a style that's a little bit tough to watch sometimes. Elijah said, I don't think Luka's style promotes winning and being a primary ball handler and star. You should get guys involved. And we saw it last year in the playoffs, right? When Luka was yapping at the referees and even at the... Was it against the Oklahoma City Thunder? Who were they against? Or was that against Boston? If y'all remember this, when he went off because he had fouled out, when he went off on his bench and they were like, you gotta review that because it wasn't a foul when it was a fucking foul, and they were like, fuck it, we'll just listen to Luka. That to me showed that Jason Kidd don't have control over this team like some people might think he does. And being an old head, being someone from the 2000s that understands all of these things about basketball, I think he should have put his foot down at some point. God, what a memory. Luka sharing Happy Meals with Zion and Embiid. It is his fault. Yeah, but I feel like great players can adjust to others. When KD came, Steph adjusted. Nobody is going to change the style. It's on Luka. Luka is the white James Harden. Celtics game 5 block on Jaylen Brown. Yeah, like at what point are we gonna expect Jason Kidd to put his foot down and be like, hey man, what the fuck are you doing? Like, is it just really a matter of Luka really kind of controls this team? He gets to do whatever he wants, say whatever he wants. No one can say anything about him or you get fired. Is that the situation, or is that the culture that's in the Dallas Mavericks? I'm wondering. Because Jason Kidd should be able to implement some offenses, some plays that would help Klay Thompson get some easy shots. And it would relieve the pressure off of Luka. When they run plays for Klay, he gets good shots and the shots look a lot better. When he's just standing there waiting for the ball and it's catch and shoot, it's just not what he was before. But I think he gets in more rhythm when he's coming down over here and he gets to come off of plays and pin downs. It's just not working. It's just not working. And I think some of the responsibility needs to go on Jason Kidd, unfortunately. He should, he won't though. It's whatever Mark says. I appreciate you. The owner said he was split up with his life before getting rid of Luka. I mean, that tells you right there. That tells you right there what it is, right? And you know, I don't think Mark Cuban is as involved, I don't think, as he used to be. So I don't know if that has something to do with it too. But scary times in Dallas right now. Scary times because, to your point earlier, Elijah, Daniel Gafford had himself a hell of a game. Like, he had himself a hell of a game. And the reality about the Mavericks is they have talent, right? Like, we've seen flashes without Luka of these guys really hooping. And so it's not for lack of talent. They just need to figure out how to maximize everyone and their ability, not just Luka Doncic. Granted, do I think Daniel Gafford getting 30 points a game is gonna be winning basketball? No. But the fact that he's capable when he needs to be, or when someone isn't performing, to have someone that can step up is extremely valuable to have on your team. And right now, they're just disjointed, unfortunately. Massey would never. That's why Fred is gone. Yeah. Oh, it's his owner's wife. Yeah, it'd be like that. Yeah, I agree. Derek is injured now. And honestly, that Derek Lively injury is also just... It's massive. It's really massive. Now, I wanted to touch on Klay Thompson's former team, the Golden State Warriors, because there's been a lot of talks about them. And I was reading, I saw a little video, and one guy suggested that they should just blow that team up because Steph Curry's style of play could potentially work with a bunch of young players. Right? So you get rid of Wiggs, get rid of Moody, just get rid of everybody. Get rid of Draymond. And honestly, like, let me take a look at the standings. Where are they at in the standings right now? Where are these guys at in the actual standings? They're like at the bottom. They're 11th right now. 21-21. So I doubt that they would get this pick, but who do you get if you trade them all? They could be trying to look for younger talent. They could try to move up in the draft this upcoming, for next year's draft, or this year's draft, I should say. Half the Mavs team is out there. Cook dropping RIP chat. RIP Mavs boys. RIP Mavs for sure. Yeah, and I think it's funny because, like, them and the Warriors, they're kind of in a similar situation. But honestly, and this isn't gonna happen, right? But how crazy would it be if the Golden State Warriors somehow got like Cooper Flag or some shit? Like how insane would it be if they somehow started losing like crazy, dropped towards the bottom, they're in the lottery, and then they trade up they give like a Jonathan Kuminga and like a Moses Moody or something for the number 1 pick, and then go and draft Cooper Flag. What y'all think about that? Steph Curry, Cooper Flag duo. Would that shit not go kind of crazy? Cause like they're not using Jonathan Kuminga any damn way. So what's the point? Like you might as well just get rid of him. Right? He's not getting the looks and the burn that he should be getting if you want him to become a star player. Playing someone 20 minutes a night is not going to all of a sudden transform them into a star player in the league. You got to give them their 30, 35 minutes. Nah. Operation Capture the Flag is already in full motion. Toronto got that locked up. Yeah, I agree. You know, it's funny you say that, Elijah. I would love to see Cooper Flag and Scotty Barnes in practice. Them motherfuckers might injure each other before they get to the first game. The way they be dunking and shit, they might just injure each other before the first game. They might fight. It might be a good thing, but they might fight. But honestly, that might be solid for Toronto. That might be solid, but not if the Washington Wizards got something to say about it, man. Yo, isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy that like Jordan Poole going through it in Washington, Steph Curry on the Warriors going through it. Clay is now going through it in Dallas, even though they're in the playoffs. And then, you know, the Phoenix Suns are now 10th, and Kevin Durant, they're going through it. Everyone from that Warriors dynasty is now going through it. All of them. They are all going through it right now. So just what a 180, right? What a 180 since like 2017, 2018, since that era. It's just a wild turnaround. Just a wild, absolutely wild turnaround that we have witnessed right before our eyes. Now, I wanted to talk about Tom Thibodeau and the New York Knicks, because we got to go talk about this real quick. Just two Giants. Yeah, those guys are pretty good. They're giving us a trouble in our tank. As you come in, hit the like button. Yo, Bruce, you are the man, dog. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, Bruce. That's you him for that. I appreciate you. But let's hear what Tom Thibodeau had to say about these referees real quick, man. Let's take a look at this.
Yeah, I just want to take a look at, like the last play on the drive. I think, I don't know what I send clips in. I do it all, and what goes on with him is ridiculous. It really is. I'll leave it at that.
And so I wanted to bring this up specifically because the New York Knicks are currently third in the Eastern Conference, right? They're at 29-16. And if you look at their record, if you look at their players, I think it would be very easy for some folks to say, oh, these guys should be a championship contending team. And you would be right? Except for the fact that I've seen us really struggle against some lower teams, like the Brooklyn Nets, like a team that's literally trying to lose games is almost beating us. That can't happen. We won 99-95. The game should never be that close against the Brooklyn Nets that lost Dennis Schroeder. Like, come on now. Like, I understand that there's referees and Jalen Brunson and they gotta start adding Karl Anthony Towns to that, because anytime Cat drives the ball, he gets hammered. Like, he actually gets hammered. Him and Brunson, I feel like people just said, fuck it, they're not going to call it. And they just start wailing on these guys. But even with that, you should be able to put the Brooklyn Nets out. Like, it shouldn't be one of those games towards the end where we're like, shit, we don't know what's about to happen. Like, what are we doing? Corey Joseph doing well in the Magic, though. He was in Golden State. Oh, yeah, they are. Oh, yeah, they are. Is he getting burned over there, though? I don't know if he's getting burned over there in Orlando. It's crazy because they were second, right? Wasn't Orlando second or third at one point in the East, and now they are eighth? That is wild. Let's say I didn't watch the game, but I'm assuming they got up because it's cross city. It was probably a rough game for the Knicks. Like if you're the New York Knicks, y'all should be going out of your way to beat the fuck out of this team every time. Like, that's just the fact of the matter. Like, I would be doing everything in my power. I'm the New York Knicks, right? This is my city. We could redirect their bus. Like, there is mad shit that we could do. Right? There's mad shit that we could do to try to fuck the Nets over. So this game is not close and we not bitching and whining about the referees. Like, what are we actually doing, man? Like, what are we actually doing? But even deeper than this, right? I do think that the New York Knicks have an issue, right? Jalen Brunson right now is averaging, let's see, what was this? 7.1 free throw attempts for the season, which is the highest of his career. And do I think that he should be getting more calls? Absolutely. Does he try to foul bait a lot of the time? Absolutely. But if we're going to make a championship run and our captain, El Capitan, is not getting these foul calls, if Cat isn't getting these foul calls, then there's no way in hell we gonna win a championship. Because when the game gets tighter, we're playing a half-court game, Jalen Brunson is trying to force things, they're not going to loosen up the defense magically unless he's able to get some of these teams and these players in foul trouble. And if they're not respecting him enough to give him those calls, then we'll be fighting an uphill battle the whole time. And I don't have faith that Tom Thibodeau will do something drastic with the offense to make it more dynamic so that Mikal Bridges could get off, so that OG Anunoby could get off. You know, the whole thing still relies on Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns. And I've said it before. If you're relying on a 6'2" point guard to win you a championship in the NBA, and this is going back till from when the NBA started, right? If you're relying on a 6'2" point guard to lead you guys, more often than not, you will not win that championship. It's just the fact of the matter. It's just the fact of the matter. Brother, you really want to talk to me about OG Anunoby right now? like we really gonna do this right now, bro? Listen. He's upped it, actually. He's upped it. Precious was alright, but like, brother is still 6'8". Like, he's still 6'8". He all of 6'8". I don't know what, like. See, OG this year, 16 points per game. Let's go, OG. I'm not going to lie. It was getting a little bit scary at the beginning of the year when he was averaging 11. It was getting I'm not gonna lie to you. It was getting real spooky when OG was averaging 11 points to start the year off. I was like, oh fuck. I was like, we're in for a long one, man. Like if he averaging 11, we're fucked. It seemed like Precious was doing okay, being a contributing civilian, picking up pens and all that good stuff, dog. Oh my god. Why must you do this to me, Elijah? Why you gotta go? Why you gotta come here and start cooking my New York Knicks when we trying to go to the promised land? But you know, I think they still need time. I still don't think Josh Hart nearly gets enough credit for how good he is. Like the amount of times you're seeing Josh Hart get the game-winning rebounds, get the stops, like he is always in the middle of the play. They gotta thank the heavens for Josh Hart. Jalen Brunson needs to thank the heavens for Josh Hart because he makes a lot of shit go for them. But like, you know, our games, they just don't look as clean as like when Cleveland beats teams, OKC. I don't know, man. And maybe at the same time, I'm also just being pessimistic because it's my guys, but it looks rough over here, man. It looks rough. And I was calling OG a diet superstar. Stop. Like, see, like, we gave this man like a 4-year, $216 million contract. I'm expecting 24. He giving me 11 to start the year, and he evened out at 16. Like, the fuck? But hey man, not for nothing, I feel like his 3-point shooting, his percentage is ass, but I feel like he hasn't been shooting that bad this year. But we'll see what happens, man. That's gonna do it for me for now. I appreciate y'all as always for hanging out with me. Y'all were fucking unbelievable today. You guys were fucking lighting up the chat. Y'all are unbelievable, man. Y'all are unbelievable. Thank you guys as always for just kicking it with me, for kicking it with me. You know, we're trying to take this shit to the moon, and we're gonna do just that. It's gonna just keep getting bigger and better. Pause. But that's gonna do it for me for now, man. I appreciate y'all. Before I get out of here, please like, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. It really helps the channel out. Y'all could have been anywhere. I mean anywhere on the internet, and y'all were here with me. And I appreciate you guys for that. So I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. I'll see y'all on Friday. Have a great rest of your day. Have a good Thursday, and we'll be back here on Friday, man. See you, Elijah. See you, Bruce. I don't know if that's sexy Tesla. Peace out, y'all. Y'all